Right now at 6, a routine call turns into a standoff at Portland's ICE facility gates.
No, not protesters, just the ICE officers.
Plus, a federal judge moves up a hearing that could extend the pause on deploying the National Guard while an appeals court remains silent. Then,
a heartache, a pure heartache for my grandmother, my whole family.
A family grapples with grief and unanswered questions surrounding a beloved aunt's murder.
And later, ski season set to arrive with sticker shock.
To have more money go into insurance and less towards improving the resort is obviously not what we'd like.
What local ski resorts say is driving some double black diamond price hikes.
Continuing coverage tonight as we await the next move in the ongoing legal battle over National Guard troops in Portland. Thank you for joining us here at 6. I'm Christine Pitawanis.
And I'm David Malko. Right now, a federal judge is set to decide as soon as tomorrow on whether to extend her temporary order that bars the president from deploying troops. Once again, we have live team coverage, beginning with investigative reporter Evan Watson in South Portland.
Yeah, and Evan, you've been digging into reports that ICE agents there blocked an ambulance trying to take someone to the hospital.
Yeah, that is exactly right. And I want to first start with a real quick update about what's happening right now at the ICE facility in Portland. It looks like maybe a bit of a dance break for the zebra and the frog and some of the other protesters who are behind me. We've been here for a few hours now and things have been very calm with just some protesters on the sidewalk, some music and sharing their thoughts. Now, to what you mentioned there, public records and dispatch audio that we have reviewed have shown that about a week ago, federal agents stalled an AMR ambulance from leaving the ICE facility. Medics were inside the gates behind me trying to drive out and transport an injured protester who had hurt his shoulder after agents allegedly tackled him to the ground while they detained him. On October 5th, a Sunday night, a federal police dispatcher called 911.
I am calling requesting EMS to 4310 Southwest Macadam for one of the detained subjects.
About 10 minutes later, the ambulance arrived, driving into the ICE facility through open gates, past protesters on the sidewalk. An AMR medic would later tell the hospital about the patient's condition.
On board today, we have a 32-year-old male. Chief complaint today is going to be some left shoulder pain as well as some right wrist and ankle pain, secondary to being tackled to the ground by some officers.
But when the AMR ambulance was ready to leave, a medic told 911 dispatchers federal agents wouldn't let them out.
1343, copy. You're attempting to transport code 1 to an ambulance seated by protesters? No, not protesters, just the ICE officers.
Public records from Portland's Bureau of Emergency Communications note 50 to 60 federal agents completely blocking the road. AMR still not driving out yet. Protesters noticed what was happening. They started chanting. Minutes later, the gates opened and dozens of agents walked out to the road, but the ambulance still didn't leave. According to the Willamette Week, citing confidential reports filed by AMR medics, federal agents were threatening to shoot and arrest the medic driving the ambulance, claiming they had tried to drive forward and hit federal agents when they put the vehicle in park.
Just an update, we are still not being allowed to leave by the ICE officers.
In total, it took roughly 10 minutes for federal officers to let the ambulance crew leave the ICE facility.
We also have agents following us as well.
AMR says it's reviewing the situation. A union rep for the medics says the union is working with AMR and management to prevent any future incidents between members and ICE agents. We reached out to the Department of Homeland Security as well, asking them for a comment or any information on this interaction between federal agents and AMR medics. We have not heard anything from DHS, ICE, or any other federal offices. Here at the ICE building tonight, we continue to see people in inflatable costumes, trying to use humor to show that they are nonviolent protesters and saying that they are using dancing and other actions like that to show the absurdity of what they believe is the federal immigration enforcement activities at this time. Back to you.
Yeah, quite the colorful crowd behind you. Evan, appreciate your reporting there. All right, team coverage continues with Kyle Lavoshi now in the newsroom.
Kyle, you've been tracking everything Oregon National Guard, and it sounds like you recently got an update.
Well, 60 members of the Oregon National Guard will be deployed to the U.S.-Mexico border. They were honored at a mobilization ceremony in Salem. They'll fall under the provisions of Title X, which means the federally funded National Guard troops will be controlled by the Secretary of Defense. In effect, they'll be federalized troops used to help with the country's border efforts. Important to note, this is a different mission than the troops being sent to Portland. Those National Guard members are still staged at Camp Rylea in Warrenton, waiting to hear from the courts on whether they can be deployed.
So Kyle, bring us up to speed on the legal battle here. As hearing set for Friday has now been moved up to tomorrow.
Yes, it was moved up because of scheduling issues. The phone conference is set for tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Judge Karen Immergitt is considering whether to extend her temporary restraining order blocking the Trump administration's deployment of the Oregon National Guard for another 2 weeks.
You know what, speaking of that order, it sounds like an appeals court still has not weighed in, Kyle.
Not yet. We're still waiting for a ruling from the Ninth Circuit. The appellate court is considering whether to overturn Judge Immergitt's order. You may recall last week a three-judge panel heard from both sides. A lawyer for the state of Oregon argued the president exceeded his authority and local police could handle protests outside the facility in South Portland. The feds argued the lower court made a mistake and Judge Immergitt should respect the president's decision to call on the Guard. Many legal observers had expected a decision by now. In fact, there was a case in California involving a similar temporary restraining order blocking the deployment of the National Guard. In that case, it took the Ninth Circuit just 2 days to issue an order reversing the lower court. But in this case, in Oregon, obviously, we're still waiting. Still waiting and refreshing that website minute to minute. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it. Stay with KGW for continuing coverage of the latest developments when it comes to the National Guard in Portland. Look for updates anytime at KGW.com, on our mobile app, and on our free TV app, KGW+.
Developing this evening, the family of a woman found shot to death in her car in Northwest Portland this weekend is hoping someone has answers.
Let's bring in Libby Dowsett live along Northwest Kearney tonight. Libby, what else have you learned from her family?
Well, David, the family of Crystal Pendergraph say it's pretty hard to heal when they don't exactly know what happened to her. And they say all they know is she was excited to go out with friends that night. Now, family and friends have started a memorial right here behind me on Northwest Kearney Street to remember the 39-year-old from Portland. Pendergraph's body was discovered Saturday on Kearney between 22nd and 23rd Avenues. Her family says a Good Samaritan called 911 when they saw her slumped over in a car. Police say the medical examiner determined Pendergraph was shot to death. Her niece, Whitney Tillman, tells us a random act of violence took the life of her beautiful Auntie Crystal.
A heartache, a pure heartache for my grandmother, my whole family. We lost our backbone. We lost our person that takes us shopping and tells us what to do and cracks jokes, and well, I lost my auntie.
Now, a GoFundMe has been set up to help with funeral expenses for the family. They have been advised not to talk about case details, but they say they want anyone who knows anything about this situation to come forward and share the information, and police say the same. Back to you guys.
Libby Dowsett in Northwest Portland this evening. Thank you, Libby.
In your headlines, a flight from PDX to Dallas was diverted to Boise earlier this morning after a passenger from White Salmon, Washington, allegedly assaulted crew members mid-flight. Police say 61-year-old Tracy Barkheimer was acting erratically and hit 2 airline employees who tried to calm her down. She was restrained on the plane and arrested once it landed. Barkheimer was booked into the Ada County Jail on 2 counts of misdemeanor battery.
Roughly 4,000 Kaiser Permanente nurses and other healthcare workers in the Portland metro are now on strike. Workers say they want to be paid on par with other hospitals and have better working conditions.
So what we're asking for is a fair, market competitive contract that will allow us to retain and recruit staff. We're not asking for the moon here. We're just asking to be equal to the other systems that are in Portland.
Well,
Kaiser says it has bargained.
Pardon the interruption there. Kaiser says it's bargained in good faith, saying, quote, a strike is unnecessary when a generous offer is on the table. It's designed to disrupt the lives of our patients, the very people we are all here to serve, end quote. Kaiser has brought in some temporary workers to fill the roles and moved other staff around. It also says some appointments may need to be rescheduled until after the strike ends on Sunday.
The old Gordon's Fireplace shop along I-84 in Northeast Portland is back on the auction block. Several businesses have occupied the building from 1918, including Gordon's Fireplace, which was there for 6 decades before closing in 2016. It's now fallen into disrepair, though, and has become a magnet for graffiti. The property narrowly avoided being sold at a city foreclosure auction last year after a court-appointed receiver stepped in. Since then, there have been legal struggles and on and off plans to sell the building. The current bid is about $425,000. The auction closes tomorrow.